There is dignity in making sure people are fed.
Everybody wants to join this simple idea. Big problems, actually they have very simple solutions. Cooks, what do? We start cooking and we start feeding. You see, we can do it when we all come together.
Hi, I'm Steve Pond, TheWrap's Executive Editor of Awards, and welcome to The Grill. I'm very pleased to be here for this conversation with one of the stars of our 2022 Innovators list, chef, humanitarian, and media mogul, José Andrés. Jose, as we were preparing to do this, I was thinking, boy, I've got a busy schedule this week. I've got screenings and interviews and stories. And then I realized, wait, I don't know anything about having a busy schedule. You're the guy who has the insane schedule. I mean, tell me, what's your last week been like?
Well, the last week has been, kind of intense. In the last few weeks, we got two back-to-back hurricanes in the Caribbean. And as I predicted, unfortunately, a long time ago, we were going to see hurricanes that were going to be hitting multiple countries and islands in the Caribbean and doing multiple damage across. And this happened with Fiona. So, we had teams of Wolves and Dry Kitchen in many of those countries: Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, Canada, Nova Scotia, Bermuda. But obviously, one of the places we became very good at is Puerto Rico, and the teams do a great job. And sometimes I to show up in the place that maybe got the most damage, and that place was Puerto Rico. So I went there and was great to see the teams use in multiple places. I spent a few days in Puerto Rico. And then I came back to Washington for a day, because happens that White House Food Conference, that the last one happened in 1969, 53 years ago, was many of us pushing for it. I was pushing for it. Was the right thing to do, adapting to the new moment we are living, the bills and laws of our government to make sure that we tackle hunger and food insecurity in America. And so, this conference happened, President Biden made it happen, and many ideas in a bipartisan way are moved forward. I was able to give the keynote speech where I went even beyond, asking for other things that we should be doing if we are bold, understanding that this is going to be a long process. But I was very happy to see this. And from there, I put voice to some of my TV shows I'm doing. And right after I finished the voiceover and a few other things, I went down to join the teams in Florida, where I've been very much in a helicopter, going to Pine Island, going to Sanibel Island, going to Inglewood, going to Fort Myers Beach, where we always go to the places we know they need our help the most. And for us, from the first hour, we began bringing water and food to all those communities that they were difficult to reach, because the bridges were they collapsed in Sanibel and Pine. Fort Myers was a total destruction. So this is a little bit my last few days.
Right. Yeah, and you still have a presence in Ukraine, right?
Well, I want everybody to understand that I am one more volunteer in Wolves and Dry Kitchen. Obviously, I'm the founder of this organization. I founded over 11 years ago. But, because the experience I have, because now I will be, while I'm alive, the longest member of the organization. I have a lot of missions in my curriculum, unfortunately. And obviously, Ukraine, I spent more than 75, 80 days inside Ukraine, helping establish the footprint we have right now, where we reach more than 175 million meals in the form of hot meals through restaurants, 550 restaurants, and in the form of bags of food that in the absence of supermarkets and farmers markets, because they are war, because 15 million people are displaced. So everybody can understand that the normal network of a city, the social system of a community is broken. And so World Central Kitchen has been trying to cover up that short-term need until things go back to normal, especially in the cities that they are very close to the front lines, cities that they've been under Russian occupation, and when they are retaking and until everything goes back to normal, we make sure that we cover that gap. We've been doing at times over 1.5 million meals a day, delivered home by home, person to person, neighborhood to neighborhood. We've been buying grain seeds that back in April, we were able to give to some farmers who couldn't access loans or was complicated for them to get those seeds in the middle of war. Was very important that we support those farmers, because then they've been having a good harvest in October. We did our little thing, but was very, very important because we show the way. So, you know, we do other things beyond just bringing food and water where it's needed. Things like the grain, the seeds, all the things gives me, you know, makes me very happy of the team we have in Ukraine. And obviously I keep connected when I'm not there through them, through WhatsApp. They are in the 220, 230 days of the war right now. So you could argue I've been there more than 33% of that war. And hopefully as soon as I have a little bit of time in the next few weeks, I will go back to see how we get ready for winter. We've been preparing for winter and make sure that all the decisions we made were the right ones to help feed the people.
Yeah. You mentioned doing stuff on TV show. I mean, you've got a couple of TV shows. You've got 2 podcasts that José Andrés Media. I mean, what has been the impetus for you in expanding your media print the way you have recently?
Well, I was trying to be logical. You know, the José Andrés Media, even, I hate that at the end we put my name, but I like to call it Jam because it's very appropriate for a cook to have a media company that at the end is Jam. I like that better. So Jam, I've been doing a lot of things over the length of my time, of my life. I'm not a TV chef per se. I'm not a chef that is every day in the Food Network. I'm not a chef. I'm every day in TVs around the world. I'm not a chef. I'm in Spain, but I've done moments that it's been very intense. In Spain, remember, over 2-3 years, we had a TV show that became daily at 7:30 p.m. in the Spanish TV, in the Channel 1. You need to understand, this is, at one moment I was having 21, 22, 23 market share in TVE1. This is the TV of Spain back in the days. So this came almost, I didn't even get ready for that and happened. So I did those shows, I did hundreds of them because it was daily. I was inviting guests and living like in a community where people would knock on my door. I did theater when I was young. I did a lot of theater. I was the ghost in the Ghost of Canterville, and I was rehearsing for Corbin Allen in Equus of Peter Schaefer before I began. I went to the Navy and I never finalized that play. Maybe, who knows, one day I play an older an older Equus person instead of the young boy he was. So I always had the spirit on me and understanding that life is very much entertainment. Life is acting and adapting to every moment with different acting, and obviously TV for me, anything that had to do with media, and especially, was kind of important. So I did TV in Spain, then I did the TV show in Spain, in America, called Made in Spain. Not because I wanted to do TV, but because in Spain I wanted to do something different from what anybody else was doing. I wanted to be more about science, sometimes about history, in a fun way. And I was very proud in Spain I did this. In America, I realized that a lot of people in America and around the world, they don't know Spain. I'm Spanish and I barely know Spain. And everybody says I'm an expert. So I did a TV show, Made in Spain, 26 shows, and that was great. Then I will do a lot of videos. You see, now you have a phone and you can become a director on your own. I began being invited to the shows of many friends. Nobu Matsuhisha did a series to promote Japan. I was in the first episode. My friend Emery Lagasse did one series for Amazon. I was in the first episode. I realized I was doing a lot of shows of my friend non-stop. Seems every week I will have a show somewhere. So I say I'm never on TV. I'm never on TV with my own show, but I'm always doing something, right? And so when you start putting all these things, you are like, wow, between all the content I'm doing, all the videos we cook, when we do mini bar and we do a beautiful video because we hire a production company, it's a lot of content that is everywhere and doesn't sit in one place, right? So if I'm creating content, that it makes a lot of sense that I create a media company where food ideas will come, where we will give opportunity to people that have a hard time making things happen. Myself, that everybody thinks they know me, and it's not like I can do everything I want. It takes a process. But now I can give not only voice to the issues I want to give voice, but I can be giving voice to others that may end with me, and we can help spread their voices. I did a show about Haiti right after the earthquake. Haiti, which was 1 hour show showing the beauty of Haiti and as a travel destination where you didn't have to be afraid. Obviously, the situation right now has changed. I did one about Jordan. So you see, I do a lot of things like this. But then I did things like I was giving advice to the producers, directors, and script writers of Hannibal, the series that was a prequel of Hannibal Lecter, of The Silence of the Lambs. And I was there with Yanni Spoon, an amazing woman that was on set, making everything look beautiful. But I was part of helping the conversations because I was bringing history and culture and giving ideas when the script writers were caught into a conversation in a dialogue that didn't make sense. So for me, that was amazing, right? So, and now I'm talking about the past, but I was trying to explain to you why Yam, right? It's because all these things are happening and more I'm forgetting. So that's why we did Yam, and that's why now everything I do is not just here, and there. Everything I do, TV commercials, I do in Spain. Now they happen here, and they're all under the umbrella of my media company, under the umbrella of Yam.
Right. I know on one episode of your Longer Tables podcast, there was the phrase that stuck with me where I think you were talking about Howard, and you said we need more food stories in the world. And I'm wondering, what is the importance of telling food stories?
I think telling the food stories of the many guests, and hopefully I will keep having in these podcasts, Longer Tables, is that I have the book around here somewhere. I have my house full of old cookbooks. I own one from 1826, written by a gentleman called Brillat Savarin. And he said, "Tell me what you eat and I will tell you who you are." I think very often with a lot of public figures. We think we know a lot, but musicians, actors, politicians, scientists, doctors, whatever. And we barely know something is very private, which is what is the relationship with food. And I have a feeling that when everybody starts digging deep within themselves and bring memories from childhood or long tables with friends, in a way we are bringing our guard down, and shows very often the best of people. I think we're always with the guard up. And I think when we talk about food, we bring our guard down. So I think this is one of the many reasons why this is important. And I think food brings all of us together. We all share love for food. Even if what you like to eat are pills with vitamins. Well, you're eating, therefore you have love for those pills. Even they taste nothing. Well, but that's the way you like to feed yourself. Imagine in the worst situation that you decide food is not something excites you and you don't want it to be part of your life. You eat pills and you are feeding yourself. In the worst situation, imagine all the way to people that spend time shopping and cooking and setting the table and eating, right? The two extremes. Everybody has a relationship with food. From the moment we are being fed by our mothers and we are unconscious, and this gets ingrained in our DNA. Forever, we remember that food equals love, because the first tangible we receive is the love of our mothers in the form of food. That's powerful, I have. And we cannot escape that reality. That's why those stories, I think, are important and opens up a lot of other possibilities to understand more about the people we are listening about, but in a way makes you maybe remember, and maybe makes every one of us, as they hopefully will listen more and more people, the podcast, a way to see that, yes, that we are who we are thanks to the food we eat. And all of a sudden you see the ecosystem around America and around the world that make that food possible in a very different way. So it's a lot of Trojan horses in what I'm trying to achieve with this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, you also have the Pressure Cooker podcast, which you don't host, but Jam produces it. So, I mean, which kind of ties into that idea of, food early in life, and because it's focused on for parents and children. Why was it important for you to be involved with that?
Well, obviously, I have Jane Black is one of the most amazing writers, journalists. I got the pleasure to meet in my lifetime. I know her for many, many years. And she has a lot of talent, and obviously inviting, talking about the different issues that involve our children. That seems is always. I said that some of the best years of my life happened in my childhood, and happened going to market, going to a farm, or cooking at home. And I know everybody maybe shares those same, but at the end, everybody does remember. When I see children in the farmer's market, even when they are tired because it's early morning and they're behind the bike of their mom or their dad, and, I go back in time and I remember those moments when my father didn't take me in the back of a bike, or was not such a family trip to the market. It was more, let's go, we have to eat. It was not a lot of romance. Even I remember romance, going to buy the fruit of the day or the fish of the day. We will always buy for the day for myself. So why is important this podcast, and especially talking about how we feed our kids? I believe, again, it's a Trojan horse and opens a lot of possibilities. We have a lot of children that go hungry in America every night. We have a school system that barely has kitchens in some of them. that barely cook food from scratch, that barely connect with the surrounding areas. Some of those issues will be addressed there. Even the theme is more about children, but you see, it's again another Trojan horse. It's another Trojan horse to start making everybody think more about food. I want everybody to think more about food, starting by the President of the United States, all the way to the last person in the system. And these are Trojan horses of making sure we're going to be reaching more and more people in their way they interact with food. So very happy with this podcast, and I think it'll do well. I think it's a lot of parents out there that maybe need confidence and perspective in that they don't have to feel frustrated if the children don't want. They only need to see it as an opportunity to become creative. And sometimes you're going to have to try 20, 50 times. I remember my mom, where she sent me, and with that, I'm not recommending any parent to do the same, but it worked with me. I didn't want green peppers. And my mom that day said, the only thing we have today is green peppers, and you're going to eat the green peppers. She sent me the green peppers to school for lunch, again, brought it back for dinner. She sent them back again for lunch. And that night when I went back, I ate the green peppers. Today, one of the things I love the most are the fried green peppers. Was a bit extreme? You could argue. I was not dying of hunger. She was trying to say what we have is green peppers, and it's nothing else today. And it served me well. Maybe I have love for everything is edible and everything is good. I eat everything. So this moment for me, I think was important. Everybody has to know what to do in their own family network. But I hope sharing stories will give every parent, every mother, every father, every grandpa, every grandma, maybe tips and ideas in how they can engage with that in a very fun way, but then also going deeper and becoming a Trojan horse of feeding children is an important issue.
Yeah, right. I mean, speaking of family, I remember watching We Feed People, the documentary Howard news about you and the World Soup Kitchen, and there seemed to be this real feeling that you were doing this work, you barely had time for your own family, and there would be these wonderful moments when you were at home. But now you're bringing your daughters into your, into your work, right? You've got this TV series kind of one with your daughters.
Yeah, well, We Feed People obviously is about the work of World Central Kitchen, and I was thrilled that Ron Howard was the guy that did it, that pushed to make it happen. It's like a dream, right? Like Ron Howard is interested in telling the story of the men and women of World Central Kitchen. Feels very amazing. Then this is happening in Disney with National Geographic, and has been great for World Central Kitchen and the many people that are part of that organization. The everyday people that work and the volunteers and this big network we are creating around the world without realizing. And then obviously the Discovery series that are coming. This was like a one in a lifetime opportunity. My daughters did one show when they were super young, when I had the TV show in Spain. But my wife and I, we only want to make sure they have the life they have, more private than sometimes mine. But this opportunity of traveling to Spain and across Spain, and many years after I did the last series, traveling and eating in Spain, and going with my daughters, and now they are not the babies. I remember when we did that show back in the days, and now they are grown up young girls, that they have their own way to see life and opinions and way to enjoy Spain. They are fascinating because they are American-born, but they have the spirit of Spain in them, like everybody in America that connects with two walls, because directly, indirectly, we are all immigrants, in a way, putting aside the Native Americans that welcome us to the States. So I used to be in America, traveling, being in Spain, traveling with them was now or never. It happened very much like if we were doing a family trip, then obviously you're surrounded by cameras and sound guys and production teams. But I think this show is gonna be great to see. And for me, quite frankly, anything is just building bridges between America and Spain. Even obviously the show is going to be seen in more than 182 countries. So this is going to be huge, obviously, for Spain, because in more ways than one, indirectly, I hope we're going to be helping to bring more tourism next year. But at the same time, it's bigger. No, it's to tell everybody, hey, pandemic is over. Life is short. Live to life to its fullest. And you can travel to Spain or you can travel anywhere else, but just do it with family, do it with friends, and just enjoy every place like there is no tomorrow. I hope this is what this show, Trojan horse message, is going to be achieving. So, as a father, I'm thrilled that my daughters agree to do the show. Was negotiations there. My wife, you don't see her, even I think she has an Alfred Hitchcock moment that is going to be 3 seconds in one of the shows. But my wife was very much the wife in command behind the cameras, but making sure everybody was ready with everything we needed. So this was obviously the amazing team, the amazing production company that did a heck of a job. But more important, my family that work as hard as anybody behind the camera, but especially in front of the camera. So yeah, and a family affair that will happen again. But as a family, we are very glad that happened, because we spent a lot of time together before my daughters are going to be living their own lives, going to university and having their own jobs and living maybe in other cities. I think that was the moment. So it's more than a show. It was a good family moment.
Yeah. So how did you come to do the voice of Chef Al on the Disney animated series Firebuds?
I don't even know. Remember that not too long ago, the waffle and mochi of Michelle Obama on their production company that the Obamas have. I think Michelle Obama did waffle and mochi, where she was like the main character, human character next to waffle and mochi. And I did 2 shows in that series, show number 1 and show number 10. So it was fun to have a little show in there. But animated characters is something I always liked. The voices I always enjoy, and they offer me to do this. It's also for Disney, so I have my life in 2 or 3 TV stations right now, the platforms. But obviously, when I began talking to the executive producers, I mean, Firebuds, I mean, is trucks and cars that do great things for others, and where they are the leaders, and usually some of them have a human that is part of them. For me to be Chef Al and be the human of the food truck, I don't know. I don't know how many episodes I am because I've been recording, but I am in few episodes, and hopefully they are going to be talking about season 2. And being a chef in a food truck that sometimes in emergencies has to be feeding people. This is like too good to be true. And I've been able to be chatting with the with the producers and the script writers about ideas of sharing experiences I had on the field on how really all types of mechanized trucks or helicopters or things that help us feed people in emergencies could be part of this series. And I think was great that they gave me this opportunity to be one more voice, to give me the opportunity to share with them the lifetime experiences I had, and how some of them are going to be hopefully finding a way on the Firebat series first season, hopefully next season and beyond. So it was fun. I like to be in front of a mic and just trying to think what voice you give to that character. Remember, I also gave Ellen DeGeneres, I think, as a executive producer, Green Eggs and Ham. And I was in 2 episodes where I was a Latino, a spy. And this also was very enjoyable. There was a very small appearance. But, I had few lines being this kind of a spy trying to protect a country from being, almost when I was in Ukraine, I almost feel like I was living that life, because it was 2 countries, at odds with each other, and I was glad I was, part of that series, and it's always fun, as you know.
Yeah. I don't think we have too much time left, but I do want to ask, thinking back to, the 15-year-old Jose going to culinary school, or the 21-year-old guy who comes to New York with, $50 in his pocket. Has your idea of sort of the role of food, the role of restaurants changed now since then?
Yeah, obviously it has changed enormously. Basically, it's the same, right? Is 4 walls, is a kitchen, some tables, and food that is put on the table. More expensive or less expensive, more creative or more traditional. Fundamentally, restaurants feed people hopes, souls. It's a moment of peace, of realization, and obviously feed your body. Obviously, I think for me, coming to America, the shock as a young boy was that how many people eat outside home. When I was a young boy growing up, we didn't going to a restaurant, even a not very expensive one, was like a big celebration. Even if it was the restaurant behind the gas station, it was like a big deal. Because we will eat more at home. But yeah, I think obviously restaurants, I always describe, especially America, in many ways, depends the conversation you're having. And especially is why I connected with emergencies or hunger in poor communities. If you think about it, America is really a gigantic restaurant. Just take a look how many restaurants are out there. Places that produce and serve food. From food trucks to diners to fast foods to high end to low end. And we need to make sure that the people that feed America can feed themselves. And this goes back to all the way to the people producing the food, which is interconnected. And I think for me, it's very important that we understand that if America is a gigantic restaurant, should not be any situation where any American is hungry. We can put America at work, investing dollars in maintaining those people that are falling behind fed, giving them a better chance to make it. And restaurants can occupy that very important role. Obviously, I don't want to be thinking about that all the time. I want to go to a restaurant and open a bottle of wine and have a margarita and have the best meal of my life with my best friends and enjoy life and sing to exhaustion. All of this is great. But then we all need to realize that we all occupy a place. And if we have problems in our community, we need to be finding smart ways to solve them. And this is the role that food people of America, we cannot escape. And we need to be making sure that government and private sector and NGOs and civil society understands that power, where we still enjoy our times at home, in the markets, in our restaurants, in a food truck, or in the most expensive restaurant in New York. This is all great and should keep happening forever. But in the process, making sure that if we're conscious about food issues, every one of our actions is an amazing form of democracy, because one plate of food at a time, you are voting, you are making a statement of the world you want to be part of. And where food is not the problem, but food is the solution. So yes, restaurants have changed enormously, but at the same time, fundamentally, it's the same. You produce food, you buy food, you produce it, you serve it, and every restaurant becomes part of the community. Now we have more chains, yes. Now many more people, many more restaurants, yes. Now you can buy food inside CBS and inside an NBA stadium, yes. Now you can buy food anywhere. You can eat food at 10,000 miles above Earth because the plane. You can send paella to the space station like I've done. You see, yes, food can be part of creating a better world, but fundamentally, restaurants at the end of the day, they use serve hope and food, one plate of food at a time.
Yeah. Well, I can't think of a better way than that to wrap up this conversation. So, thank you for the amazing work that you're doing. Yeah, thanks for joining us at TheGrill.
Well, thank you for having me.